So on the series, I play Lexi Martine. She is a pilot. What I really love about Lexi is the fact that she is the only female pilot on the series. And female pilots are ultimately underrepresented in the aviation industry. So I love providing that representation. She's very smart, she's passionate, she is resourceful, and she's a great friend. So she reminds me of myself. I really do enjoy playing Lexi, and I hope everyone gets to see her climb throughout the aviation industry because you kind of have to start at the bottom and work your way up. But she's passionate and she's dedicated. So yeah.
And for doing such a role like this, Mercedes, did you do a bit of research? Did you speak to one or two female pilots to learn a bit of the lingo, the techniques, how they carry themselves? Did you try or do you watch any particular sort of research, any particular characters that played female pilots in the past to give you an inkling?
That's the thing. There weren't that many female pilots for me to watch, but I did try to do my research. And we were very fortunate to have a pilot, an aviation resource on the series with us. So we did some training ahead of time. We got to go up in a small plane and just get used to all the equipment. And I will say, since playing Lexi, I have developed a love and an appreciation for aviation. Every time I'm on a plane, my brain is going through the takeoff sequences and the landing sequences. Sometimes I'm even predicting what's going to happen. I remember one time we were landing very quickly, and I said, I don't know, he's going in kind of fast. I feel like he's going to have to redo this landing, and he had to circle around and give it another try. So I predicted correctly. I'm really proud of myself. So ultimately, I'm glad that I am a great source of representation and inspiration. And hopefully, it inspires an entire new generation of young women and boys, to get into aviation.
And tell us about working alongside your fellow pilot extraordinaire, the wonderfully talented Aaron Ashmore. What was that sort of like in terms of that? Is every day a learning day for you on set?
Yes, I mean, Aaron is such a leader, and I look up to him in both our characters and in real life. Him having such a long and illustrious career, so composed, so professional, and that's ultimately what captains have to be. They have to be on top of things, but understanding and warm, right? Because you're taking care of all of the people on the plane, so they have to trust you. They have to have a sense of comfort with you. And Aaron is a great co-pilot, but also a great scene partner. So yeah, lots of fun working with Aaron.
And Mercedes, how did this opportunity initially arrive on your doorstep? Was it a traditional Zoom audition process during COVID, or did you actually get to audition in person?
It was actually a self-tape. It was a self-tape submission. I remember it like it was yesterday. Just really thinking about the character, what she would wear. I even remember putting on a safety vest because I know on working on the tarmac, often you have to have one of those, safety vests on. So I really adorned myself in the style. And I'll never forget even my slate. A slate is essentially when you introduce your real self to the casting directors. And it's like Mercedes Morris, 5'8", from Toronto. And I gave them a little salute. So I embodied the character from day one and I had a lot of fun with it. I remember when I finally submitted my tape, I was just very confident because it felt so natural. And now here we are.
Season two, we got to see a whole sort of survival story arc develop throughout it. Lost terrain, your fellow comrades in arms, sort of scenario where they're lost, do anything to bring them back in sort of one piece. Are we set for explosive sort of storylines? like that in season three without giving much away, or is it more nitty gritty sort of relationship stuff?
I think that's the beauty of SkyMed, that there's a balance of everything. Um, you'll get your action, your drama, your romance, your surprises, the ups and downs. And I think that's real life, and that's why the audience really connects to our series, because these characters are following their passion, they're living their dreams, but they're also human. They're people. We make mistakes, we grow. And so, yeah, there's a little something for everyone. You can count on that with SkyMed.
Something that struck me so far, I asked all three personnel that I've interviewed before you, so I'm going to put this, and all had sort of amusing sort of answers to tell in
Mhm.
terms of their experience working inside that sort of cockpit that you have on set in terms of that. Keon said it nearly breaks his back every day in terms of he can't stand up in terms of that sort of minute space. How did you sort of find that, and when you're mimicking turbulence and sort of stuff like that, all the cameras, all the lightings, having to do those sort of takes within the one or two takes, was it challenging at sort of first for you as an actress, or working in such a confined space?
Well, I did become quite a contortionist getting into my seat. I will say that. But ultimately, it makes it feel all the more real, right? Because the real medevacs who do this job in real life, they are in close quarters, they are under pressure, and they do have to be resourceful. And sometimes there's long trips, there's short trips. So I guess all of that just makes it so much more real, and it's easier to dive into the character. So I don't mind at all. We also have a great cast, and we have a great crew who makes all of our surroundings very authentic and natural. Outside, there's blue backdrop, so it looks like the sky. Sometimes you forget that you're not in the air. So I love it. I really do enjoy my time in the plane.
Yeah. And obviously, Winnipeg and Toronto, where you do most of your sort of shooting, you're not too far away, dare I say, from the wilderness of Canada and the great northern sort of parts. And for people that don't sort of know about it, and you're not doing it sort of justice, people that do live in those places it can be very remote in terms of this. And this is where we get the true life sort of scenarios in places like that. That the nearest hospital could be the best part of 2.5 hours away or
Years
more in some
away.
cases.
Yeah, it's true. I've really grown to love and appreciate working in Winnipeg. And now for season 2 and 3, we shot up in North Bay. The scenery, the atmosphere, even the people. It's more quaint, cozy. You know what I mean? And yeah, it just makes it all the more authentic. What I love is that in previous projects that I've worked in, they'll have like the aerial shot from some sort of stock image, and then you might shoot in studio, and they'll kind of fake it. But what I love about shooting in North Bay in particular is that all of those surroundings are right there. We get to be I remember in season 2 there was um a waterfall that we got to shoot at. And it's like, if we weren't in North Bay, I don't think we'd be able to pull that off, right? So it just makes things exciting, natural, and of course, it shows off Canada's beautiful, beautiful landscape. So I love it, and fingers crossed for season 4.
Yeah, and as a cast and as a crew, have you created a sort of close bond? And I suppose there's also an essence when show writers and directors, when they're writing those sort of scenes, to always to have a bit of a curveball to keep things spicy and juicy in terms of reality. So, do you ever get the sense that maybe when you're looking to the scripts, do you get from when you start the season, do you get the arc for right the way through, or do the producers and directors keep you guessing from week to week in terms of the scripts, and you always maybe dreaded, oh, okay, hopefully there might not be any sort of XX storylines in here in terms of demise or stuff like
Mm.
that?
Mm. Well, It's interesting. There's such a balance. What I find is that the writers, they really know us. Our showrunner, Julie, she's incredibly gifted at fine tuning the characters to be similar to her performers, but also different enough where it stretches us. It helps us grow as not only performers, but as people, right? So you can always count on a little bit of a curveball to challenge you. But you also can rest assured that you can bring a part of yourself to the character and really keep things alive. So yeah, I love our writers. Again, shout out to our crew, our writers room. They really know how to keep you guessing. Like there's always something you were not expecting to go down in an episode of SkyMed. Always.
Okay. On that note, I'll turn to you, Mercedes Morris, for closing statements. Why should all our audience here in Ireland tune in to season 3 on Paramount Plus on May the 15th? And when they do, Mercedes Morris, what's in store for them?
Well, you should definitely tune in if you are looking for an escape, you know, the atmosphere, the drama, the romance, the ups and downs. There's always something for you to lock into and engage with in SkyMed. Um, the characters are very inspirational. You know, they have such resilience, and I'm sure that the viewers can relate to that and would be inspired by that. So rest assured, there is something special. There's going to be a character that you're going to see so much of yourself in watching SkyMed, and that's what I love about the series. And I'm sure you're going to love that about the series. I will just send so much love to my castmates. I was just on a WhatsApp group chat with them actually just a couple hours ago because we stay connected, and I'm sure you'll feel that bond. You'll feel that connection in the series. So yes, catch up on season 1, 2, and when you're ready, watch season 3.